Over the past 40 years, the proportion of high school students in Malaysia entering tertiary education has also increased rapidly. The World Bank statistics show that the proportion of high school students in Malaysia attending higher education rose dramatically from 4% in 1980 to 7% in 1990, 26% in 2000, 37% in 2010, and 43% in 2020. The leaps that occurred in the 90s were mainly due to the government's massive increase in the intake in public universities and college, the sharp rise of profit-oriented private universities and college, and also the general improvement of people living standards. The latter in particular has strengthened the capability of parents to send their children to higher education. For students from relatively poor families, the government realization of the education loan policy known as PTPTN, National Higher Education Fund, has also allowed a large number of children of all ethnic groups who meet the admission standards to get a place. As of today, there were as many as 585 public and private universities in Malaysia, of which 73% were private, but 330 of them belong to small training centers or college. Some 50 years ago, tertiary students were perceived as social elites. The popular of tertiary education has since expanded to such an extent that this elite perception has been invisibly nullified. This development has greatly reduced social stratification between people, which is a good thing. As a whole, more tertiary education graduates have brought about not only generating individual quality and work efficiency, but they have also to greater capabilities to earn higher incomes, helping the nation to move further up the knowledge economy towards an advanced stage of development. The number of tertiary education of students has indeed grown at an astonishing rate. However, their quality has not necessarily improved by leaps and bounds, even though they have more technological means and sources of knowledge and information to help them today. How has this problem arisen? One of the factors that lead to this issue is the lack of employability skills. According to the employers and industry players, the majority of Malaysian fresh graduates lack the technical, problem-solving and soft skills that employers require to compete for jobs in Malaysia. As a result, the job market is highly competitive as only a handful of talents possess the right skill sets to get hired. All these matters will lead to an increase of unemployment rate. According to the Department of Statistics Malaysia, in 2021, female unemployed graduates were composed of 54.2%, which is 106,900 persons, while males made up a share of 45.8%, which is 90,500 persons. Therefore, responsibility for filling this gap in knowledge must be shared between companies and universities, with awareness on both sides of the complexities of the other. Employees are not seeking changes in higher education provision that will risk losing specialist knowledge, but they want educators to pay more attention to research showing which skills are needed by different sectors, and also to respond quickly to it. Some successful examples of collaboration from other countries are such as at the United Kingdom, Sheffield Business School and Nestle collaboration, which sees students study part-time for a tailored degree while working full-time for the company. Meanwhile, in our country, one of the initiatives that has been taken by the government to solve the issue of employability is the program of One Malaysia Training Scheme, SLIM, which is a program that aims to enhance employability among graduates through collaboration with government-linked companies, GLCs, and private sectors which implement SLIM as part of their corporate social responsibility, CSR. Realizing many initiatives taken, it is interesting to study students' awareness on these programs. The increasing rate of unemployed graduates is one of the issues that triggers the world's concerns lately. Likewise, Malaysia is no exception. Malaysian graduates have been challenged with the issue of unemployment, with an increasing trend in unemployment rates in the last few years. According to Graduate Statistics 2021 from the Department of Statistics Malaysia, Institution of Higher Learning in Malaysia produce over 200,000 graduates every year. However, 1 out of 5 graduates remains unemployed, with the majority of degree holders struggling to find a job. The rate of youth with diplomas and degrees suffering from unemployment is now 3 times the national average. The Ministry of Education Malaysia reported 53% of about the 273,000 graduates in 2015 were employed within 6 months of graduation, while another 80% of the total graduates opted to pursue their studies. This leaves the remaining 24% of the total graduates unemployed, struggling to search for jobs. Many factors lead to an increase in the unemployment rate. One of them is when graduates are unable to find jobs within their range of studies and are forced to seek jobs that are not related to their field. Unfortunately, most employees rarely accept the graduates from other fields to prevent any future risks. The mismatch between graduates' aspirations, employment requirements, and the opportunities available has caused unemployment and underemployment among graduates. On the other hand, English proficiency and lack of employability skills are also one of the reasons that contribute to the increase in the unemployment rate. Lastly, graduates' attitudes nowadays of being choosy in job selection is why the reason graduates are unable to get their desired job. The research questions are: students aware on GEP? What is students' future career orientation? And does students' awareness on GEP affect their future career orientation? Meanwhile, for the research objectives are to examine students' awareness on GEP, to identify students' future career orientation, and to analyze the influence of the students' awareness on GEP on their future career orientation. In literature review, it covers all issues related to students' awareness on GEP, where the crucial part is on the overview of graduate employability at the global level and Malaysia from various scholars. We stress the matter of graduate employability rates and strategies to enhance employability. Therefore, independent and dependent variables are to study their interrelationship with the another one and whether they will affect one another or the other way around.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Muhammad Syaffi bin Abdul Aziz and I will continue with the conceptual framework. Okay, for the conceptual framework, the students' awareness on GEP is chosen to be the independent variable and the impact on their future career orientation as a dependent variable. This is because the students' awareness on GEP is the main factor for their employability and their career orientation. This is the hypothesis used for the research that each research objectives have null and alternative hypotheses. This research used the quantitative method. This study chose the final year students of Bachelor of Administrative Science AM228 at UiTM Seremban with a total of 198 students, and the sample size used are Cressier and Morgan 1970, which is 132 students. After collecting the responses from students, a total of 141 students filled the survey. Thus, the response rate is 100%. The sampling technique used in census sampling. Measurements used are mean analysis, frequency analysis, Pearson correlation, and cross-tabulation chi-square. The data collection is through online survey Google Forms. This study included 141 students from final year AM228 UiTM Seremban as respondents. There were 58 male respondents, 41.1%, and 83 female respondents, 58.9%, showing that the female respondents outnumbered the male respondents. Majority of the respondents are 22 until 23 years old, 84.4%, and the respondents' CGPA showed that the majority of them get a 3 until 3.49 CGPAs, which is 71.6%. For the financial support, the majority of them use loans, which is 58.9%. For the first objective, the overall mean score of the respondents in terms of knowledge is 3.511. It means that the majority of the respondents are neutral about their knowledge on GEP. To be fair, the mean score for awareness on GEP is 4.1560, which means the majority of respondents agree they are aware on GEP. However, they have limited knowledge on the details of GEP, such as the objective of GEP, initiative by the government to achieve GEP's objectives, and their networking to enroll into GEP. This is the mean score for the awareness of the students on company's GEP. The majority of them agree that they are aware of Petronas GEP as it gets the highest mean score, 4.0709, but they are unaware of B Brown Group GEP as it gets the lowest mean scores, 2.9291. Next objective, the overall mean score for the dimension of career importance is 4.4846, which indicates the majority of the respondents is agreeing on the importance of their future career. In terms of career decidedness, the overall mean score of the respondents' career decidedness is 3.9007, in which the majority of the respondents are neutral on their future career decision. Despite the fact that the respondents are clear about the career they want to do, they do not decide on the companies they want to join after finishing their studies because their knowledge about companies is limited. This is a career aspiration in which the future occupation that the respondents chose. The particular occupations selected in this research are aligned with the respondents' university programs. In the table, the highest frequency occupation chosen by the respondents is administrative officer with a total of 67 respondents, which is 47.5%. The lowest frequency occupation chosen by the respondent is other occupation with a total of 9 respondents, 6.4%. In the other occupation, 8 respondents choose to be lecturer, while 1 respondent mentioned that he does not know what occupation he wants to be in the future. Next objective is the significance of the variables involved is 0.000, which is lower than 0.05. It means it achieved the rule of thumb of Pearson correlation analysis, and thus the students' awareness on GEP with career importance and career decidedness do have relationships and contribute to the influence of students' awareness on GEP on their future career orientation. The significance of chi-square is 0.002, which is lower than 0.05. It means it achieved the rule of thumb of cross-tabulation analysis, and thus, the students' awareness on GEP with career aspirations do have relationships and contribute to the influence of students' awareness on GEP on their future career orientation. There is significant relationship between the students' awareness on GEP and their future career orientation. The students are aware on GEP, but they do not have adequate knowledge on GEP in detail and the specific companies that provide GEP and available occupation they desire. For their future career orientation, they do agree that having a career important, but the majority of them have not decided to join any companies yet because their knowledge on companies is limited. The limited knowledge about GEP and companies is what causes many graduates unable to be employed and tend to mismatch their jobs with their academic qualification.
One of the research recommendation is the sample size must be expanded to include students from various faculties and programs for more detailed studies. The sample size must be expanded to include students from various faculties and programs. In particular, a greater sample size more accurately represents the population. Secondly, utilizing the interview session through qualitative method. Participants can openly express their thoughts, feelings, and experiences without worrying about the later repercussions. And lastly, it has strengthened the survey method. The versatility offered by the survey research means that the researchers can conduct the survey in the knowledge section by asking the respondents to list it by themselves instead of providing the multiple choice grid. All variables lead to the conclusion that the final undergraduate students of UITM Seremban from Bachelor Administrative Science, AM228, Faculty of Administrative Science and Policy Studies are aware on GEP and are ready for their future career orientation. Based on the survey, shows that they are aware of the GEP with a total of high mean score. For career orientation, the mean score is impressive, which means the respondents do agree that a career is important to them in the future. Although the respondents shows that they are aware on GEP, the actual fact is that they are actually only aware on GP as surface only and not in specific. This is due to not getting a high score in the section of knowledge during conducting the survey.